Beijing ahead of the parade, tightened security, strained daily life. As the September 3rd military parade approaches, authorities in Beijing have rolled out sweeping security measures. Since late August, all passengers traveling to the capital by train are now subject to an additional round of checks, a so-called second inspection. What officials call a precautionary measure, many ordinary citizens see as an unnecessary burden, one that shifts the cost of national ceremony onto the public. Endless inspections in neighborhoods. Residents in Chaoyang district report that neighborhood committees show up almost every other day. For the past 2 weeks, teams have knocked on doors repeatedly, checking fire safety, asking whether relatives or visitors are present, and reminding residents that the area has been designated a key security zone. One man said that by September 2nd, armed police would be stationed in his neighborhood, windows would be sealed with tape, and on the day of the parade, residents would be required to vacate their homes. They want us out of our own apartments. Every day it's inspections, it's exhausting. The restrictions extend beyond private homes. Along Chang'an Avenue, shops have been forced to close temporarily, their doors sealed shut. Residents in surrounding areas were told they would be transported away in groups and only allowed back after the parade was over. Many describe it not as a proud national moment, but as an ordeal. Grassroots workers overwhelmed. Community workers admit the pressure has been relentless. From 8 in the morning until 9 at night, they distribute notices, monitor suspicious individuals, and detain anyone who looks like a petitioner before handing them to the police. One staffer confessed, "Even the police are exhausted. At noon, they're eating instant noodles in their patrol cars." Trains and postal services restricted. The tightening is not limited to neighborhoods. The railway system has also increased security. Since August 28th, passengers boarding trains to Beijing must undergo a second inspection inside the waiting area. Officials now advise travelers to arrive at least an hour early to avoid missing trains. Postal services are equally constrained. A staff member at a Chang'an Street post office explained packages are scanned once before leaving their city of origin, then scanned again upon arriving in Beijing. By September 2nd and 3rd, we'll suspend all parcel deliveries entirely. Ordinary people won't be able to send or receive anything. The authorities are well practiced at this. Public frustration grows. On social media, complaints are widespread. Travelers describe the additional checks as exhausting. One netizen quipped, "The parade is for the leaders to watch, but the suffering falls on us." Taxi drivers say their business has dropped by half due to road closures. Shopkeepers complain that deliveries are suspended and customers have disappeared, leaving their stores eerily quiet. A Beijing scholar in public administration observed that technically, a second inspection might enhance safety, but in reality, it shows how readily the government prioritizes security over convenience. You can't object, and even complaining carries risks. Recently, someone posted online about the disruptions and was summoned by the police for hours of questioning. Ceremony for the state, cost for the people. The scholar added that military parades function as regime rituals, symbolic displays meant to reinforce state power. For ordinary citizens, however, they bring only economic loss and disruption to daily life. Such ceremonies may not deliver real safety. What they do is deepen resentment among the public. Since mid-August, Beijing has been in a state of near lockdown. Roadblocks, checkpoints, and random inspections at residential compounds. From taxi drivers to small shopkeepers, from commuters to students, everyone's routine has been subordinated to the needs of the state. As one weary resident lamented in a chat group, the parade lasts just one day, but our inconvenience never ends. The Danish jewelry brand Pandora, known for its accessible luxury, recently revealed plans to shutter 100 stores across China in 2025, a sharp increase from its earlier projection of closing 50 outlets. This decision comes alongside significant layoffs, signaling deeper challenges for the brand in the Chinese market. According to Chinese media, Pandora's financial results for the second quarter, announced on August 15, reported total sales exceeding 7 billion Danish kroner, roughly $1 billion, $100 million, USD, falling slightly short of the 7.1 billion Danish kroner anticipated by analysts. Growth in comparable sales decelerated to 3%, down from 6% in the prior quarter and below the expected 4%. The company highlighted China as its weakest performing region, with sales in the first quarter of 2025 dropping to 96 million Danish kroner, approximately $13 million, 0 cents USD, an 11% decline from 2023. The second quarter saw an even steeper fall, with comparable sales in China plummeting 15% year over year. Pandora's response to this downturn includes doubling its store closure plan to 100 locations, coupled with workforce reductions. Employees affected by these closures, as confirmed by sales staff to 21st Century Business Herald, will receive severance packages but will not be reassigned to other stores. Beyond physical store closures, Pandora is reportedly exploring a major overhaul of its China operations. Reuters notes that the company is in discussions with Chinese investment funds and e-commerce platforms to potentially offload its assets in the region, including inventory, under a brand licensing model over the next 5 years. This move, while framed as strategic, hints at a broader retreat from a market that has proven increasingly inhospitable. China's luxury market is undergoing a profound transformation, and Pandora is not alone in its struggles. Other high-end brands such as Gucci, Prada, and Louis Vuitton are also scaling back. Gucci, for instance, closed at least 6 stores in China between 2024 and early 2025, including prominent locations in Shanghai's Rio Mall and New World Daimaru Mall. The brand's presence in second-tier cities like Taiyuan's Shenyang, Dalian, and Fuzhou has also diminished, leaving just 7 stores in Shanghai. Prada has closed 4 stores, while Bottega Veneta and Dolce & Gabbana have shuttered locations in cities like Taiyan and Lanzhou. According to data from the Enshan network, 14 stores from 6 major luxury brands closed in mainland China in 2024, with many redirecting resources to first-tier cities. Tiffany & Co. closed its counter at Kunming's Jingguang Center, and domestic jewelry brand Gaiyu, once popular among younger consumers, has withdrawn from key markets and even lost its listing status. This wave of closures reflects a broader decline in China's luxury goods sector. Analysts predict a 2 to 5% drop in global luxury sales for 2025, but China's market is expected to contract even more sharply, with domestic luxury consumption falling 18 to 20% in 2024. The outlook for 2025 remains grim, with no significant recovery anticipated. Factors such as declining household income, weakening employment confidence, and a faltering real estate market are squeezing consumer spending. The National Bureau of Statistics reported that in July 2025, new home prices across 70 major cities fell by 0.3% month over month, and 2.8% year over year, with 60 cities recording price drops despite efforts to stimulate the market, such as lowering down payments and mortgage rates. These measures have failed to reverse the downward trend. The shrinking wealth effect from real estate, coupled with high unemployment and rising savings rates, has created a vicious cycle. Industrial value-added growth in July 2025 was a mere 5.7%, the lowest in a year, while retail sales grew by only 3.7%, well below the expected 4.6%. This slowdown, evident even during the peak summer shopping season, underscores a broader trend of consumer caution. Impulse purchases are giving way to essential spending, and luxury brands like Pandora, which rely on emotional storytelling and discretionary purchases, are particularly vulnerable. Amid this downturn, the secondhand luxury market is thriving. Industry reports project that China's secondhand luxury market will reach 38 billion RMB, approximately $5,360 million 0 cents USD, in 2025. This growth is driven not only by buyers seeking affordable access to premium brands, but also by sellers liquidating assets. Economic pressures, including unstable incomes and declining property values, have prompted many to sell high-value items like handbags, watches, and jewelry. The resale value of luxury goods is also declining, pushing owners to sell sooner rather than later. A cultural shift is further fueling this trend. Younger consumers increasingly embrace the buy secondhand, sell secondhand cycle, viewing it as a pragmatic choice rather than a stigma. However, the booming secondhand market has a darker side. Counterfeit goods, often indistinguishable from authentic products, are proliferating. Social media platforms and blogs showcase Super A replicas that mimic luxury items at a fraction of the cost. One consumer remarked, "I used to buy authentic bags, but now I go for A-grade replicas. A real pair of shoes costs 7,000 RMB, but the fake ones are 800 RMB, and no one can tell the difference." This shift reflects not only economic pressures, but also a growing acceptance of high-quality fakes as viable alternatives. Pandora's challenges in China contrast sharply with its global performance. The company reported 7-8% organic sales growth worldwide, with an operating profit margin of approximately 24%. In markets like Europe and the United States, Pandora continues to thrive, driven by innovative designs and strong brand appeal. This disparity highlights China as an outlier rather than a symptom of global decline. While international consumers embrace Pandora's new collections, Chinese shoppers are tightening their budgets, creating a stark divide between a stagnant Chinese market and robust global demand. Reflecting on Pandora's history in China, the brand's trajectory mirrors the broader luxury sector's rise and fall. Entering the market in 2015, Pandora rapidly expanded, opening over 240 stores by 2019 and achieving sales of approximately $284 million, 0 cents USD at its peak. However, since 2021, sales have steadily declined, dropping to $162 million, 0 cents in 2021, and further to $81 million, 0 cents in 2023. Stores in cities like Beijing, Qingdao, and Nanjing have shifted from standalone locations to counters or closed entirely. This retreat echoes a broader trend of consumer downgrading, visible across industries. Dining habits have shifted from lavish restaurant meals to fast food and takeout, while e-commerce platforms see higher demand for clearance items and promotions rather than premium products. A personal anecdote illustrates this shift. A woman shared, "My daughter wanted a Misha iced tea, but I didn't buy it because the 9 RMB coupon wasn't available. My son kept asking for a Lubu doll because his friends have them. I found a cheap one online, but for my younger son, I skipped the dressed-up version to save 10 RMB. Instead, I got him a golden hoop stick for 13.8 RMB. I haven't bought new clothes in 2 years. My old ones are fine. My husband rotates 3 tank tops I bought for 498 RMB last year. Her household expenses, including groceries, 600 RMB, and utilities, 200 RMB monthly parking, reflect a broader trend of frugality. She now relies on an electric bike for convenience, avoiding the costs of driving." This consumer retrenchment is rooted in structural economic challenges. The bursting real estate bubble, high debt levels, and an aging population have eroded middle-class confidence. Economists argue that China, as the world's second-largest economy, should be a haven for luxury brands, but policy uncertainty and geopolitical tensions have diminished its allure. Pandora's potential licensing deal with local partners is less a strategic pivot than a concession to market realities. Other brands, such as Chanel, which cut 20% of its workforce, and Gucci, which reduced its footprint, face similar pressures. The collapse of luxury e-commerce platform Weep in 2022, after a 20% sales drop, underscores the competitive and shifting landscape. The rise of domestic brands adds another layer of complexity. Chinese consumers are increasingly turning to local gold jewelry brands, which offer both aesthetic appeal and value retention. This shift is partly economic, but also carries a nationalist undertone, as patriotic consumption gains traction. Western brands like Pandora struggle to compete in this environment, where they are perceived as less relevant. Some observers see Pandora's retreat as a warning sign for China's economy, signaling potential increases in unemployment and declines in foreign investment. Others view it as a reflection of a hollowed-out consumer market where ambitious economic plans cannot mask the reality of subdued spending. The luxury sector's challenges are compounded by a shift in consumer priorities. Gold jewelry, valued for its decorative appeal and investment potential, is gaining favor amid high gold prices and a weakening RMB. This preference for tangible, value-preserving assets contrasts with Pandora's reliance on emotional, non-essential purchases. As consumer confidence wanes, spending is increasingly directed toward necessities, leaving little room for discretionary indulgences. Pandora's decision to close 100 stores in China, alongside layoffs and a potential exit strategy, reflects not just a corporate realignment but a broader economic shift. The luxury market's contraction, driven by declining consumer confidence, a struggling real estate sector, and the rise of secondhand and counterfeit markets, paints a sobering picture. While global markets continue to buoy brands like Pandora, China's unique challenges highlight a growing divide between local realities and international success. As consumers prioritize practicality over aspiration, the Chinese miracle faces scrutiny, leaving luxury brands and the dreams they represent struggling to find a foothold.